Hello and welcome back to another episode of What Do People Do podcast with Leo Edgar,
Eddie Duncan.
And today I'm very excited. We've got a special guest for all you business savvy people, entrepreneurs, founders, whatever you want to call it. If you could give us your name and kind of what you do.
Hello. My name is Jason Carter. I am essentially an e-com guru. No, I'm joking. So essentially work in e-commerce for business distribution and do a bit of property as well. 23 years old is the age. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm 25 and I feel like I'm
24. I feel old.
Started at a young age to say the least. Very young age to say the least.
What I want to do by starting the podcast, we always ask our guests the same kind of question to start with. And that is, when you were little or when you were growing up, what did you want to be? What was the dream job for you?
Yeah, so truthfully, I mean, background, loved football, always loved football, had a bit of a weird upbringing, so I brought up in several different areas, countries, but I always had sort of an interest in business. I mean, everyone uses that cliche, don't they? I used to buy sweets and sell them, like I generally would do.
You were that kid in school?
I was that kid in school, and my margins were high as well. I weren't trying to make 10-15% profit on sweets. But yeah, that's essentially... Always wanted to run a business, but football was another thing. I was always pretty academic and had quite a academic bringing up as well. So my brother went to Oxford, my sister went New York. So I had that education was an important aspect from my parents' side, but I knew I had a drive for business really.
What do you think it was? Was there any influence or kind of person or something you saw online, anything that kind of was that first kind of defining moment, I guess, that was like, yes, business is the decision I want to go down?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. So for me, YouTube was so important growing up. I mean, I don't know how many countless hours I spent on YouTube, whether it's when I was going through my scooter phase, when I was obsessive with scooters, and it'd be, I don't know, Danny Duncan or Terry Price, and I'd be watching him, and it's like, you have that business aspect of, initially it was, how can I start a business within scooters? So I'd try and do YouTube channel of sort of try and monetize scooter videos. That was my first business idea, or whether it is sort of selling or reselling sort of scooter parts as well. So whatever hobby I was doing, it was, right, how can I make some money out of this?
Yeah, that's weird because for me, I never had, because my family, they both work full-time jobs, my parents, and even like their friends, like only a few of them actually run their own businesses. So I never had that outside influence. Was there any person in your family or friends that was running a business?
Yeah, I mean, really good question. So my uncle does have a very successful business. Truthfully, I never really looked up to him in a business sense. I mean, always been very close to my mom and dad. My dad works a normal job, truthfully, but had exotic experiences. So he went and worked in Nigeria, and then I moved to Nigeria when he was working there. He's always been a bit involved in property as well. So whether that was sort of having a few properties in the UK and renting it out, and that was really my entry to property, was seeing that, hearing about it. When I was 14, I'd just be asking about it. So when by the time I got into property quite young, it wasn't, oh, how have you got into that? It's like, I've been asking about this since I was 14. And to a sense of one thing that I had an obsession with as well was money. Like I was obsessed with money. It was almost going through my head all the time. And that's not a good thing. But it led me onto that business path because everything isn't about money, but it's a driving factor in business.
Was that, do you think, because you saw things online or on TV or like actors wearing Rolexes, nice cars, or was it just because like you knew like with money comes a bit more freedom? I think the freedom thing came later on. So that's more my concept now with it. But back then it was cars. It was, I'm obsessed with Lamborghinis. I'd be that kid who would, I'd go past a Lambo and I'd say, stop, rev it. In fact, I still do that now, if I'm honest. So it was a materialistic approach. I was always obsessed with materialistic things, Lambos, cars, houses. I'd go on my screenshots from now, 2015. I have my car now, like as a screenshot. That's what I wanted to get. Yeah, so crazy. I was obsessed from a young age, like obsessed, truthfully. Yeah, I think... for someone like yourself who started a business so young and kind of is still growing as it is now, you need to have that kind of mindset where I don't know where it comes from or like whether it is something you're born with or something that you develop over time. Because I think for me and you, we don't have that. If we're being honest, it wasn't.
I think if we look at ourselves, it's definitely something we don't have. However, you'd argue differently, wouldn't you? You'd think like if you just put your mind down to it, surely it's something anyone can do.
100%. I think you'll always have an experience in people who join later on. So let's look at you two. You've gone through university, you've got good jobs, and now you've almost got the aspect of there's more in life and something more to... People find that at different times, different areas. And really looking, I'll obviously go on to this, there was a pivotal point at 15, 16, which really made me change my mindset on the way that I'd look at what you can do, what your business can be. Is 10K monthly limit or your cap of what can be done, or is there so much more? Do you have to go and work a 9 to 5 and try and save up money? There's different ways of doing things, and I just had it exposed to me a bit younger, and that's truthfully it. So I think everyone can, but it comes at different points.
Yeah, I'm excited to come on to that story in a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
What I want to start with is, obviously you were the kid selling sweets in school. How did you then go from doing that to starting your first business?
Yeah, great question. So this is where it all began, where it all started. So truthfully, let's take it all back to square one. I'm 15 to 16 years old. Me and my friends, we've been selling sweets. We've all had a slight interest in designer clothes. Okay, and this is where it all started.
Right.
Now, where I'm from, based near, is Chesterfield, Shirebrook area, which luckily enough is located next to Flannel's headquarters. Now, there is an outlet similar to TK Maxx for that headquarters where we essentially got hold of and got information of. So as a 15, 16-year-old, she's like, all right, we'll go to this outlet and see if there's anything there. The first time we walked in, there was Stone Island jackets, a rail of them, £30 each.
No way.
£30 each, yeah?
That's criminal.
And the reason is, it is criminal. And you know why it's criminal? Because the staff didn't know it was Stone Island. The badges weren't on. They debadged them.
Yeah.
So we went in, and this is me, my business partner Jack I'll speak about, and a couple of the friends, and this is like our friendship group, went in, we go and buy these Stone Islands, almost pretending we didn't know there was Stone Island. The staff didn't know. They were just labelling it. They was writing £30 on the tag, not knowing it was Stone Island. So I'd gone in the outlet. I remember the first time I'd done it, I bought like 3 Stone Islands. I maybe had like a couple £100 to my name, 16 years old.
Yeah.
I bought 3 Stone Islands at £90. I sold one of them at 220 on Depop. And I was working a £4 an hour job as a waiter, and I just made like 2-3 weeks wage.
So you went back to do it next week as well?
Every day. It was obsessive. And it got to the point where we would spend that much time in this outlet, me and my friendship group, who I grew up with now, who I do business with, we'd spend that much time in the outlet that, you know, like when Christmas and the songs are just on repeat and you can just hear it in your sleep.
Yeah.
I could hear the songs in that outlet in my sleep. We were spending that much time in there. So it's what we were really, so obviously no one knew about this outlet. And we'd got to the sense of that me and my friendship groups all knew, and we were just like sort of keeping it between us, and it was our hustle. At first everyone was like, they're selling fakes. We were just going to this outlet, getting X-Display, faulty goods, just selling it on Depop, on eBay, and that's where it all started.
How old was the stock they were selling? Was it like last year's, or was it?
Good question. So it's outlet. So it would either be, for one, first jacket I bought was a Stone Island £30. It had a broken zip. So I went, fixed a zip, and sold it on. The next one had a mark on it, a small little mark. Got the mark, took out, sold it on. Or the shoe might have like been worn on the bottom. Anything that they couldn't sell in a store would come essentially to this outlet, which we'd get snippets and to be able to buy stock of.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was
sounds so simple when you say it like that.
No, so simple.
Yeah.
It was.
But it's just, I guess I guess you're in the right place at the right time, and it is the know-how. Like for me personally, at 16, me walking into that place, I would not have batted an eyelid.
Didn't know how much a Stone Island cost.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had a clue.
Yeah.
So you've obviously had that sort of, I don't know, that
Intuition.
mindset. So the spend your money now to make money in the future, to make quick money.
And you understood the value of items
that was not a thing. Like I was on my Mag Gear Pro, but I wasn't doing that.
No, I think you have to understand the value of items as well, and the fact it was an area you were interested in, like you said, designer clothes. You knew walking into that shop, £30 was an absolute steal. Other people, like you say, the staff didn't even know that. So it's having that knowledge and that intellect. And that's I found in anything that people do successfully in, you have to have a lot of knowledge in that area.
But you see it now, and people are literally videoing themselves doing it, and you think, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Because you just think like someone's just turning up in a truck to Sainsbury's, going in there, buying everything that's on offer and selling it for double the price online.
Yeah.
It's all demand.
Yeah.
It's all demand. Like you got to think, what are these outlets or big corporate businesses paying on this stock to be able to let go of it for so cheap?
Yeah.
It's the same. If something's got a fault in it, they can't sell it in the store. They can't. You devalue your brand by having, let's say, Flannels or Selfridges at a faulty section in their store. You're gonna look and think it's a.
What's stopping them from just mending it themselves? Is it because it's so mass produced that they just don't care?
Yeah. I don't know whether
one less sale is a drop in the ocean. Like.
Absolutely. I mean, for the level of work, let's say a Canada Goose has got a massive rip in it, and the level that they're doing and the scale they're doing, it's easier to shove it in a cage,
sell it for 70% off.
Yeah, sell it for 70% off, and then it's a write-off on tax, something I don't know. Yeah. But truthfully, I just seen an opportunity and jumped on it. And it's not just clothes that this is an industry in. It's everything. Yeah. Whether it's TVs, you go to clearance stores, there's TVs with little marks on. The price is cheap enough where someone will buy it. They'll do value add where they fix a TV and they'll sell it at a margin.
Yeah, I'm really gutted our friend Charlie isn't here because he normally does the podcast with us, and that's how he was that kid in school selling sweets. He was like, when we used to live with him, he used to just come back with like 3 TVs and be like, oh, I'm selling these for like 200 quid more.
Absolutely. And I've got a really good, this is really funny. So I went from sweets, and this is before I got on the clothing. I remember this one deal I'd done. As I said, I've always been like a buyer and seller, thinking about it, I have. And one thing was, I remember there's a girl at school who was selling an iPhone, and I was like, oh, I'll buy the iPhone, give her a crap price. Same thing I do now. If I'm buying anything, I'm going to buy it at a crap price, unfortunately, for whoever's selling it. So I bought the iPhone. I can sort of see that it's not turning on. And I worked at Tesco Mobile at the time. And I was like, I know that's just a broken screen. So I just bought it off her, 50 quid. Fixed it for like 50 quid, sold it for 200. Yeah. It was the exact same thing that I applied to the clothing side. Buy it faulty, fix it, sell it on it more.
Well, that's what Charlie used to do. He said he was that kid in school, like people would be like, oh, my Xbox is broke. And he was like, I'll buy it off you. And then he'd get the parts for it and then put it together and then sell it on. Like some people just know like the value of things. And like he knew that it'll be a lot of time. And like that's the value is the time you're putting into like fixing it. Like you said, fixing the screen. But you know that what you're going to get back from it is worth those hours or however long it takes you.
Absolutely.
I think one thing I'm interested in, obviously this has all started since you were 15, 16. Mm-hmm. How old were you when COVID started?
So COVID was, I was in university at COVID, right. Which COVID was a pivotal year.
A lot of people, I've got a friend from home who just like these things that you would never have thought of because of COVID just blew the price out.
Time,
So it's like hot tubs, home gyms, like all these things. You just go into the shops, get them as soon as they go on the shelves and resell them online for double the price because people looked in their homes, people wanted hot tubs. People had money to spend because they weren't going out. So a hot tub that was 400 quid was then selling online for 800 quid because they weren't in the shops. And it was just like,
you just have to be the one
that and repeated it. Home gym equipment.
There was nothing to do as well in the evening. So everyone was like, maybe I'll try and start my own business. So for me,
so how did you get on in COVID?
Really well. It was pivotal for me. It changed my mindset in many different ways. So COVID, I was a university student, and it meant that because when it started, everyone got sent home from university. I'm not sure if you was there at the time. And I was always doing reselling on the side of university. It was basically my job when I was at university, and university can be expensive. I was going on placement. So I basically went on my placement earlier, which was a paid placement. And when I say that for 9 months, all I did was work and put my all into placement. And then whilst I was working, be selling, and in the evening selling. So in the evening, I get bored. I go back, I'd build my first website, and I think about the website now. It was shocking. And even from a sense of I got a makeup deal at the time, and this will lead further on to position of what I do now. I got a makeup deal at the time, and I bought that makeup deal. And I remember being sat at work in COVID time, and I had to sit with a mask on as well. I remember being sat at work, and my boss was across me. And I swear to God, I left my phone on loud because my Shopify was going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And every time we'd just smile and laugh at each other. We'd be like, what is happening? Because of COVID, it wasn't just that it was easier to start another business. Everyone was buying online. Every single person was buying online. And I didn't realize how big of an industry cosmetics was. And at that point, I remember the day I'm sat there and I must have done £400 in profit in makeup in a day, and this is like 2021, so it was massive for me. Whilst I'm sat there making 50 quid on fucking placement, and my boss would probably be sat there, he's on a decent whack, making £125, and we're both thinking like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's that sound, that endorphin of when your Shopify goes ka-ching. There's no better sound. There is no better sound. So it was it was pivotal for me. It really focused and helped me scale
and that links back to how much you used to still do love money.
I do love it. Yeah, I do love it.
It's not a bad thing to love, is it?
No.
What I want to know then is, between starting your kind of buying and selling clothes from flannels and going to uni, did you have any other businesses then, or was that your main business then?
Right. So one thing I'll say is that I'm going to touch wood saying this, is I've never failed a business. Like I've had several businesses. There's not one that I failed at. And I'm not saying that I'm going and building software or building crazy businesses. I'm building businesses where I'm buying and selling, usually in a niche market that I know. So in terms of what I was doing reselling or designer clothes. I branched out. So PlayStation 5s, for example, that was something that I really dug into. In COVID times when it was
massive.
Did you do much market research for the products that you were going to branch out into, or was it like kind of on a whim?
It was like natural, because I'm that much in the circle of what's being sold and selling. I could tell you exactly what a PlayStation's going at, because it's not like I'm going and sitting there for 2 hours on computer researching, but I'm speaking to people about it.
No.
I'm on the phone constantly.
Are you in Discord servers?
I was in Discord servers, but I wouldn't even really need to do it. I'd use Twitter.
Yeah.
So at the time, PlayStations, I'd know when they dropped they weren't even in the Discord server. I was just using a Twitter trigger, and I'd pay my friends on a commission base who were at uni, and they all had no money, and people at uni don't have money. I'd say to them, lads, I'm going to send you $1,000 each into your account. We're going to wake up at 7 a.m. If you land that PlayStation, you keep 40 quid. And they'd be like, fucking hell, yeah. I can get some beer for 40 quid in the pub after. So I'm like, all right. So we sit there. I'm the leader. I wake up in the morning. I knock on everyone's door. Lads, PlayStation about to drop. Get your laptops ready. Get your banks. I'm going to send you over $1,000 each. And $1,000 at that point, so I may have like $3,000 I'd sending out, was massive for me. I didn't have no more money than that at uni. I had like the properties. My money was tied in properties. I weren't that business savvy really at the time. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the lads had landed on a few PlayStations. I'd got to the point where I was maybe having 10 to 20 PlayStations at a time, and they were all gone straight away because I weren't even just selling to end client. I had a guy who I still sell to who was raffling them off. So he didn't give a fuck what price he was buying at, and he'd take every single one off me. So the second that I'd landed it, at 400 quid, I had to pay my mate 30 quid or something if it went me landed it. So 430. I'd sold it at 570 like within 3 minutes.
That's crazy. That's outrageous.
In terms of what I was doing, was there other business ventures that I got into? Technology within the PlayStations.
Yeah.
But it was all the same model.
Yeah.
Buying and selling. Arbitrage, supply and demand.
Yeah. I think it's something that sounds so simple, but obviously there's a lot that goes into it. And like working out what, like you say, what products are going to go at what times and how much money to actually invest in it. I know a lot of people will spend loads going, this is the thing, and then it turns into dead stock and no one actually wants to buy it.
Cash flow is horrendous in this business. Yeah.
Because I take it, 99% of it is the research and the getting out on the socials and seeing, or the servers and seeing when it's going to be available. And then it's that. You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
When something is that hard to get, you've literally got 2 minutes. And I take it you've had lots of episodes of failure as well.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Would you say during COVID you'd miss more than you would get, or
I was pretty good at it. I think the ones I'd try, I'd get, but I didn't have every trigger. So it's probably 100 triggers which I missed. Probably I could have got a lot more than I wanted.
Yeah, I think like someone like me and you, like we'd maybe resell TVs or golf clubs or something that we're interested in. But like for you, it was more just, it doesn't matter if you're interested in it, if it's going to make you money.
He's interested in it because it's money.
Makeup, for example, you're a lad, you don't wear makeup. So what was it that like sparked for you when you're like, I'm going to make money off this makeup?
Numbers.
Really? Just like looking at, was that other people selling it, or was it like, where did you see the numbers?
Same story, concept of an outlet. I've been buying designer clothes. It got to know me at this point. I'm a couple of years down the line. I've been buying and selling. Nothing massive. Like I'm talking, most I probably ever spent in there was $1,000 or something at a time. I didn't have that much money. And one of them, the staff, who was lovely, they're dead nice people there as well, he said to me, "They've got a cage of makeup here. Yeah, I know it's risky, but you're not seeing it for. But this stuff generally sells really well." And at this point, I'm just trying to go every day, try and make as much money. I was still allowed there at COVID with a mask on. So if I'm honest, I had £500 in my bank and the makeup was 1,000 quid. Yeah. I couldn't even afford it. I genuinely couldn't afford it. I had stock, which I already had there, which I had to sell. So I rang my dad. I said to my dad, and like one thing I say in business is, as much as friends and family and everyone's like, oh, make it yourself, don't be afraid to use what's around you. Like I'm 19, I'm not going to have tens of thousands of pounds. I will ask for people, I'll ask for help. So I've gone to dad, I've got 500 quid. Is there any chance I can borrow £500? But I'm not sure about this makeup. Like I'm panicking here over 500 quid. Or
Did you tell your dad that?
Yeah. And this is one thing that I would say is my dad has been pivotal in terms of business because he's so relaxed. He said to me, he goes, what's the worst that happens? You lose £1,000. Yeah, it seems a lot to you now, but the worst that happens, you lose £1,000. It's a new venture. Okay? I bought the makeup cage. He's then come help me pick it up. So much stock. Unbelievable amount of stock. Obviously, I can see sort of through the cage a bit of the items. Within 4 months, I turned that 1K into 10 grand.
That's crazy.
Jesus. Yeah.
I remember, and shout out to my ex-girlfriend on this one. I remember we went to, took the makeup back to my gaff, and it was scattered everywhere. It was all mixed, but like real top-end makeup. And I was trying to gauge how much cost price I had in here. Yeah. And we sat there, she sat there for hours, organising, or telling me this is really good stuff. I had no idea what makeup it was. We've done the numbers, and I've always been all right on an Excel spreadsheet. I like to really document everything. I had £48,000 retail of makeup for £1 grand.
What the hell?
It was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That is crazy that Flannels just had that there and like no one else had seen it. Like you were the person.
This is even the worst part. There's 3 cages and I only took 1. The others are gone. And the deals aren't always like that. You land on one where so 48K's worth, 10K
Why
retail.
is the person who's telling you, not doing this for themselves?
The staff. They can't.
Right.
And it's like if you're working in JD and 1,000 pandas drop and you know pandas straight away sell for panda dung, you legally can't.
Yeah.
What they're doing behind obviously closed doors is different. Like they obviously are doing something and making a nice little drink. But in terms of just so, but a lot of that stuff was faulty as well. Yeah. And makeup, if something's used in makeup, you can't sell it. No. So some of it like 10 grand retail bin.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it was a massive risk. I had no idea what I was coming into. But it's like one batch of Estee Lauder foundations I'd paid. This is funny to think about. I can't have paid more than £1 a unit. And some lady bought like 3 guns off me at £20 a unit or something like that. No way. And I thought, what the fuck? I made 3 times my investment. I still had all this stock to sell. So
you must have been laughing.
I was laughing, bro. I was laughing. And I've got my own consumer page, Plug Carter at the time. You might have 1,000 followers who I'm selling to Valentino's, D Squared, and I'd just be sort of making £50 a unit. So I was used to making sales and profit, but I understood that I didn't have enough for a customer base to shift that stock. And this is where I turned to eBay and built a Shopify. And I built a Shopify, spent hours listing all the stock just to get it there. And I synced. So there's an eBay integration at times. So I synced my website with the eBay. And that's when I started really seeing sales. Like I'm talking every single day, I was doing £80 in sales. And that's like £60 profit.
So before you were doing eBay and Shopify, were you just selling it via like, you just sending it on Royal Mail, or how were you like posting to people?
So I wasn't really selling much of the makeup before eBay, but when I was selling before that, it was all through Instagram channel. So I would list
were people collecting it, or were you having to deliver
I was posting it. I was going to the post office every day, but I still enjoy like that side of it. It's like that end fulfillment. Yeah. So I just go to the post office. It was just part of my routine. For the makeup, before I go to placement, I'd package it up in a slip. I'd slip it in the mailbox and go. Yeah. It was part of my routine. It's like atomic habits. Like a habit in the morning for me was, I've got 2 orders, pack my orders, go to the post office, done.
And then to placement. Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't know how long it's been up on eBay for, but the sort of the system where it authenticates things, was that there when you started on eBay? Because obviously that I guess is a good thing for you, because people who are doubting what you're doing, whether it be people who are close to you or people online from your socials, I guess if you've now got that authentication thing on eBay,
it's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean. Like from example, the other day I bought my girlfriend a Baccarat Rouge, the perfume.
Yes.
I bought it. And
didn't come to me, right?
someone sent me a fake version. So like, I got scammed, bro. But obviously, it's one of them. eBay, obviously, got to send it back, get the refund. But you must have that problem where so a lot of people would be like, "Oh, this is fake. What you sent me." Like people try and get kind of their money back by kind of counter scamming you in a way. Or you never had that?
In clothing, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. It was a nightmare. I've got one story for this. In makeup, no. And truthfully, women are amazing customers compared to men.
Really?
And this is why I prefer selling makeup so much more. And it's because it's lower ticket as well. So I sell an aftershave or a lipstick and it's £20 and the margin's still 100%. Yeah. So you double your money. No, even if they have an issue, for 20 quid, they're not usually ever going to say anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's designer clothes. Are you sure this is going to fit me? Can I return it if needs be? Is it 100% authentic? Have you got receipts? A million different things. So there's obviously platforms that once I built my repertoire and myself, I had obviously a lot less of this. But when I was young, I was battling it all the time.
I can imagine.
But I was selling on Depop. Depop obviously has, because it's through a third party provider, you have a bit of security. Yeah. But I still had times where I got scammed on Depop. I'll give you an example. I bought the deal that I'd done with Jack, I'll speak about later, with some Balenciaga tracks, and I got them at some good prices. Yeah. And this is through Italian suppliers, not anything else, anything like my usual. I think I paid 300 quid a unit, and I sold some on Depop for 545. So it's a good margin, 240 quid. So I've shipped it out to clients, paid through PayPal, which gives him the security and me the security. They've arrived. He said they're used. I've gone, no, they're not. They're brand new. Yeah. Well, and I've had the battle, and PayPal have gone, right, you have your money. He'll just give him the money back. You get the shoe back. It's no problem. So I'm like, all right, fuck, I've lost my £200 profit. Yeah. Send me the shoe back. Not bad. So the guy sent me the shoe back. He sent me the shoe back. I've opened the shoe, and I swear to God, there is a pair of dirty Adidas Sambas in there. No. And I've lost my head. I've gone, what? I've gone, this, mate, you sent me back Adidas. The guy's scamming. Yeah. So
there are people out there like that.
So I haven't had to go through PayPal. Ends come I've got a lad who's doing a bit of work for me at the time. I was traveling at the time. An email got missed by a day. I've lost 500 quid.
Oh, no.
Well, technically 300 on the cost price of it. That's what I've lost. Because this guy has sent me the shoe, claimed he's returned it, but he sent back a pair of Adidas Sambas. This has happened multiple occasions, whether it's when deals that I've done with other boys or whatnot. But there's,
What they're like on that, like the big companies, do they take your side on that, or
usually the seller have more protection? Yeah. It's a weird way. So, I mean, in terms of authentication,
because otherwise people just do that more and more, they just get away with it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's a ball ache. Truthfully, it is a ball ache. Like I had to go and try and prove the weight of the shoe he sent against the weight. I guess
that's why they do it, because they think surely some people just won't care. And it's like when you talking about the perfume that you got for your girlfriend, like if he does that to 5 people,
he's making profit.
Even if 4 people return it, that 5th one's still going to make him profit.
Yeah, exactly.
To everything else. So.
I mean, for me, I prefer selling to end client through either business account or through WhatsApp and stuff, because I built my reputation up. Yeah. But initially, when you're going through things like eBay's a lot better for it now, because it goes through eBay first. Yeah. Yeah. So when you send Depop, it goes straight to the client at that time anyway. So that client goes, it's shit. Then he's refunded. There's an opportunity to scam in between. eBay goes to eBay, they check it, all good, to client. That client goes, it's shit. Hey up, I'm eBay. I've seen this, so it's not. So that's when I say it's such a game changer for business, for eBay to have done that. It skips things like that happening.
Yeah. For sure.
Do you think there's an opportunity for any other big selling companies like eBay and Shopify? Do you think those two have kind of monopolised the market now?
Vinted's come on really well.
That's blowing Depop out the window.
Yeah, but it is. But the problem is with Vinted is they don't accept any businesses. So for me, I teach a massive part of my business. And again, I talk through my story of how I came up. But now I distribute to businesses. Whether that's you want to go and start an online business, I teach you how to go and do that. And that's my main subject and my main sort of project now. Mm-hmm. So we've had people who've been selling really well on Vinted using our stock and our supply, but it's only for personal use. So if it looks like you're selling as a business, you have 100 jackets on there, they'll shut you down.
Oh really?
And
I didn't know that.
That's an issue. That's an issue with Vinted. Is that you it's amazing for selling, but selling personally.
But do you think that's why
There must be some people.
Why I can get onto Vinted and find a way better deal than I can find on Depop, in my opinion. Like I just think everything on because it's personal and because it's not all sort of commercialized. I feel like people are just flogging shit for nothing out of just a cupboard. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
a few factors.
Yeah,
that's definitely one. I have not used Vinted massively because I've phased out of using sales channels and stuff like that a bit ago. But Vinted don't have a fee, if I'm incorrect, but I'm pretty sure Vinted don't have a fee for the seller.
No.
And Depop do. Yeah. So straight away you've got a 10 to 12% margin, which is saved.
Yeah.
Because Vinted may give a small fee on the buyer's side.
Yeah. You pay more for it and the seller keeps all of it.
Yeah, exactly. So when I'm going and selling a Moncler and it's a £900 jacket and they take a £100 fee, my margins, I can't sell on Depop.
Yeah.
You can't sell high ticket on Depop, but on Vinted you can.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why I see that Vinted is skipped past Depop massively.
Yeah. I found that. Even like I was selling some old like Nike Magista football boots.
Great boots.
Yeah, they are. But they were. I had my first ever pair of Magistas, and they were like, I think they were 2010 or whatever, whenever it was that it came out, and you can't buy them now anymore. So like I was selling them as a rare football boot, only worn a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I was selling them on Depop. People offering me like £250, £300 for them, and then I was like, look, you can buy them, but buy them off my Vinted, mate, because then I get to keep all the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
What would you, if you had a sort of meeting with if you had 10 minutes with the owner of Vinted to convince him to like commercialize it and allow businesses to sell on it, what would you say?
Oh, I've got a pitch. Right. Mr. Vinted, if you can hear me right now, please listen. So I think absolutely you have to keep that fundamental that it's personal selling. It's not where you go and build businesses. It's not anything like that because there's a lot of issues that come when you're selling as a business. However, if he could have a subscription-based service which gives a contingency fee for them to be able to manage any, for example, issues that have between sellers and businesses. Example. You as a business charge £50 a month, pay £50 a month for Vinted to use as an intermediate to sell on. Then they have obviously that massive part of subscriptions that they get in there.
From like small businesses.
Yeah, from small businesses to be able to manage, and that means they haven't got to charge any fees, etc. And to be able to manage any issues in terms of labour to go and sort. Then imagine the network there.
Yeah.
Vinted business. So you have businesses who have ticked the verify, they've got authentication, and they're paying a monthly subscription fee to use that service, which is already massive.
Yeah, that does sound like a good actually.
Doesn't that sound like something that Depop have already done?
I don't think Depop have a subscription-based one. So Depop have verified sellers, and that is if you have done a certain amount of revenue in sales, which is really hard to get to because your margins are so crap.
Yeah.
And you have to be consistent with it too. So that's like, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying this podcast. What I want to know is you've kind of got this buying and selling business of like luxury items, designer clothes. You've got the properties. You've been to uni. What's next for Jay once he's left uni then?
So I left uni and I went into a graduate job for a month. one month. And shout out to my grad job. I learned an absolutely tremendous amount. And this is where I'm going to start to speak about a business which I've worked with very closely, and I've learned an extreme amount from.
Where were they based?
This is more, so that's just not the grad job. But this is again near my area of Chesterfield, Shirebrook. And this is Morley. So Morley, who I live with right now, is basically best friend from school. We were in competition selling. When we're 16 years old and we go to the outlet, Jack used to ring me, and say, I've heard you've took that stock. Why don't you tell me? I used to go, Jack, why the fuck would I tell you where the stock is? I'm going to go and sell. And Jack did amazing. Like when I say I'm obsessed with buying and selling, Jack's obsessed to the point where you can't get out of his head. He was incredible at it. And that meant, for my sense, when my business was growing, it was growing well. I went to uni. Jack was working apprenticeship and really scaled his Morley trend, so his end consumer. So if I was doing $1,000 a month in profit, Jack would be doing 5K. If I was doing 2K, Jack would be doing 10K.
But that was annoying for you.
It was annoying, but it was at the same time we were best friends. So
yeah, respect the grind.
And we worked together. I used to do deals with him. So anyway, Jack had an idea. Basically, we were both sort of using similar source of supply, but he had more clients, of scaling the business by doing business to business distribution. And this is where the game changed. Yeah. So rather than me selling to end client and spending let's say I got a 1K deal and it's sent to L client, we'd be able to buy 20, 30, 40K deals and distribute it to businesses who can go and make a profit doing so. And because we're doing a bigger buy, it means your buying power is bigger, your percentages are obviously more profitable.
Yeah.
So Jack started a group sort of with Zach as well and a few of the team, and I'm still working at this point. And I was basically bought out, truthfully, at the time.
Yeah.
I had my own business, but he said to me, come and work for me. You know this model in and out, and we can start doing and you can work for me in the business, which is operating really well, doing good numbers, doing business distribution. And we got the warehouse sort of back around the Chesterfield way, and we really started scaling. And this is where my joy is in business now. It's in business to business distribution.
What kind of businesses were you selling to then?
So the model was essentially, it was a course. And you see all these people who talk gurus, talk about, I hate courses. It was a course in terms of access fee. So you'd pay a fee and you would have access to our mentorship, our end-to-end service teaching you how to build your own business. But more importantly, and most importantly, stock. So rather than you having to go and spend 10 grand or 20 grand to try and buy some stock and sell it, all you'd have is access to our stock at these massively discounted rates that you sell it and make the profit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give an example. So you've got a Moncler jacket, which in the store is £1,000. We've bought 100 of them, which meant that we've achieved a price, let's say roughly 600.
Is that where have you guys sourced it from?
So we will have bought it from a supplier. I'm not going to give every supplier's name.
No, obviously.
But because we've all gone and spent, 50 grand to buy that amount, we've got the big discount. And because we're doing bulk buying, same as any business. Yeah. So we've got, 100 Monclers or whatnot, £600. Now, you have access to that Moncler at 650 or 660. So we put a 10% margin, small margin.
Yeah.
You can then go and sell that to your end client at 860. Hey, up, mate. I've got a personal shopping page. I've got a client there who wants to buy a Moncler. It's £1,000 in store. I can get it here for 860. So there, he makes a sale, sells it for 860, takes payment from his client. Yeah. He then buys it directly from our business at 660 because he has access to all this stock, and we ship it straight to his client. So he's made £200 profit.
He hasn't had to do any of the shipping.
He hasn't had to invest anything in stock.
Yeah.
He's not had to do any of the shipping. He hasn't had to do a big bulk buy. And this was the beauty of it. Is that we became not just a course, we became a supplier for the UK personal shopping network and market.
That's crazy.
I'm interested. So these, I don't know, you go and you see a Canada Goose on the shop floor, okay, in just a shop in the Arndale or something like that. My naive mind would think that's just come straight from the supplier, but it sounds like they go 5 to 6 places sometimes before they can even end up on a shop floor.
Chain to chain. I mean, so a lot of these typically Italian brands are based in the manufacturing, God knows what country, Vietnam, whatnot. And they'll go to distributors. So they'll go to a network, so whether that be Moncler. Moncler will have accounts of Flannels, with Mode Sense, with Sense, with Net-a-Porter, hundreds of different retailers, because you see all these retailers then distributing. Now that price which they're buying at is nowhere near what you're seeing at end client. Yeah. Whereas as an individual, you're only seeing an end client price. Now the more money you have, the closer you can get to that original manufacturer price. Yeah. And that's a step which I'm at now, is how much money can we get to take it a step further, where I'm speaking to Moncler or where I'm speaking to these different retailers. Yeah. So it's just trying to work your way back down the line to that manufacturing point, because there's a margin being added on
every time. How many steps, in your opinion, do you think it is before you get to that original?
So I think if you look at Moncler, I'm pretty sure you've got to have, to really get an account, of maybe like 100K a month spend.
Right.
Oh, really?
To start actually getting like the really good price, which I can't meet.
No. I mean, you've got to be in the game for a long time before you got
to be huge. You've got to be selling to businesses to do it, big businesses.
Brands like Tommy Hilfiger, I'm going to just take that. That's the one that I've known, one that I know of that I'm...
it's like a mid-end brand,
Yeah. One thing that I think is similar at the moment is going the same direction. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just chatting an absolute load of Canada Goose, okay? I'd say probably about 5 years ago, I used to think that Tommy Hilfiger was like this cool, like...
We all did.
Like this really upmarket brand.
The Tommy t-shirt.
And like they're now obviously selling in JD Sports, in all these sort of, you can see them in Sports Direct and stuff. And for a company like that, why would someone go down that route? Is it a business decision and think, can we sell it to the masses, or do we keep it as a high-end product with less people buying but keep the prices high?
I don't think it's their choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Truthfully, it's a great question. This is something that I buy. So Lyland Scott's a really good example.
Yeah.
In my unit now, I've got 700 Lyland Scott pieces because I paid that cheap on it. Because it turns of phases in fashion. So Tommy Hilfiger or Hype or whatnot, sometimes these things have, and Moncler, Stone and stuff are really good at keeping that level
they keep
at the top.
value.
But these ones, like Jack Wills, Hollister, different brands, they'll come in and out of fashion. And when they're out, they're just going to downgrade and go to a cheaper price. People still in the back of the mind have Tommy Hilfiger. So if you're someone who hasn't got that much money, you want a bit of designer, then you're going to look at that and think, no, I'd take that top. So in terms of why Tommy Hilfiger will have gone down that route is for the masses because they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And it goes to a lower ticket brand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's the world is so fast moving fashion. It is so fast moving.
I was going to say, what's your opinion on brands like Cole Buxton or Represent, where they're like the middle end, you're probably paying like $170 for a hoodie. You're not like in your Moncler Canada Goose. Like, how are they going to like withstand these?
It's a really good question. So I think when you look at brands like this, it's like a sieve.
Yeah.
You 100 of them will drop in, and one or two will make it through. And drag, and when they drag through,
everyone wants it.
Everyone will want it. But you got to think, like, off the top of my head, you can't even think about it because it's like vague.
Yeah.
But it's probably like 20 brands that I represent that we've sort of thought about or like was a thing that's now phased out.
Yeah.
Because it's such especially when you're
like you said, Hype. That was massive.
Yeah.
Because everyone and their nan's dog is wearing Represent at the moment. So it's like, how is that not just gonna spread?
Do you think about remember Six Silk, that brand? Yeah. When it used to be like skinny ripped jeans, everyone was wearing them. Like Foot Asylum and like. So I mean, it used to be skinny ripped jeans.
I think Cole Buxton and Represent will stay.
They got a good business model though.
Because they've got a great business model, and I think they've now got incorporations with Harvey Nichols, Selfridges and stuff.
Yeah.
Which they take a big percentage of revenue in terms of sales. Like I'm aware of how that works. So once you've got that foundation there where you are in these department stores, then you've always got your face at the front.
Yeah.
Whilst if you're only using Instagram, that hype on Instagram and social media dies and grows really quickly. So they've got themselves to the point, Cole Buxton Represent, where they are the fundamental, the pivotal now. And they might have a phase, but because they're in them retail stores, I can't really see them sort of going in and out. But things like Broken Planet, Cortez a bit bigger now.
Yeah.
They can go in and out. Trico, different brands like. But again, when they make it, they make it.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Should we move on to?
I was going to say once you've kind of had
Chesterfield.
You had this month in this job, and then you left. Why?
Yeah, so again, the opportunity was amazing, and it was one of them that I remember speaking to my dad because I'd just finished uni, I'd done well, I'd got the properties, I was doing retail myself, I was generally on a good path, and I said to my dad like, I'm scared like to leave my day job. Like I know I'm always going to do it at some point, but it just feels scary, especially with friends in a business which is new, business doing very well but new. And I took that step. Yeah. My dad sort of reassured me, goes, what's the worst that happens? Again, that what is the worst that happens? And he really, honestly, if I ever panic, like I'll go and I will panic at times in business. You have to.
It's a scary place to be at sometimes.
It's scary. I've got a lot of responsibility.
Self-reflection, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'll get on the phone to him and he'll calm me down. And he said to me straight away, like, what's your risk? Go try it. If it don't work in 6 months, you go and do something else. And I joined the business with the boys, and basically I was managing clients in terms of onboarding, helping them set up the businesses. Obviously I've got an experience, I've done this for years, talking through the way the model works and playing a pivotal role in stock as well. That was for sort of the first 2-3 months. And then that was amazing. We had a really good team. Like the bond was amazing. We was in the warehouse. We was working mad hours, But truthfully, I'm not going to talk figures on this podcast, but from a point of business, I'd never seen money like that before. Yeah. Never, ever.
And how long was that after leaving uni then?
2 months. Two months after. Like for me as a person, it wasn't my business. I was an employee to a sense, had my own business as well.
Yeah.
But as a business, I'd never seen money like that. Even what I was taking from it, it was very good for what I'd previously been making from a grad job or whatnot. And then it started to phase, started growing, started to have a serious amount of stock. Like our warehouse was chocker. I'll see if I can get a clip for here, but huge, full of designer Louis Vuitton. We must have like 40 Louis Vuitton like shoes at one time.
Yeah,
which is like 50 grand in shoes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One shoe. It was mad. So anyway, started to develop, and the boys gave me a bit of an opportunity to have a bit of a bigger role in terms of buying. So I'd done property, and I'll talk through the property later or whatnot, but I had the property at the time over COVID. I'd refinanced it, I'd moved things about, and it did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was managed to take out a decent chunk. I smile when I think about it. I managed to take a decent chunk out of the property, and I was going to buy another house with it. That was a plan. And the boys come with an opportunity where we could basically do a bit of buying together, which meant that I was taking a revenue share from stock. And that's where things really started to change for me, because I'd now had a place. I was obviously employee working, doing a lot for the team. I had my own business as well. I had the property, but then I'd started to take a bigger role in the business doing buying. Mm-hmm. So whether I was putting in 10 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand into stock, it meant then I was then taking a revenue share from the business, which is huge for me.
Yeah.
And that was like a massive changing point in my life. I looked at things so differently, like the freedom of what I was doing, the what can actually be made.
Yeah.
Even seeing the businesses that we were teaching and working with, doing like, I remember he'd done 10 grand prof in 2 months of his first 2 months.
That's crazy.
Because he was incredible.
Yeah.
He was incredible at what he'd done, and he's doing it full time. It's his job. And it was so sick to see that as well.
Yeah. And what were you still in Chesterfield at that point?
So this is still in Chesterfield.
So at what point did you kind of change your mind and was like, let's go to Manchester where you are now?
So I always wanted to live in Manchester. I went uni in Birmingham. I thought Birmingham was a shithole. Really, truthfully, really rough. I always wanted to go to Manchester. I didn't get a Manchester uni. I went and applied for uni in Manchester, didn't get in. At the time I had a missus who was in Sheffield as well. So it was like, sort of nice and comfortable being around the area. Pivotal moment was, we got robbed for £400,000.
No way.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. We got ram raided. And bear in mind, so in person.
Fucking hell.
Mic drop. And I won't go into too much detail, but again, like, shout out to the boys for the way that they powered through this. Like, them boys are incredible. From a business savvy point of view, like, sometimes I won't really like to say it to him, but Zach, Jack are incredible entrepreneurs. Yeah. Seriously. Like, to go through that is incredible.
No, like to bounce back after having a hit like that.
Yeah, we were ram raided. Took to, I don't know, retail 400k, maybe cost price 200. It's rough. You couldn't really fucking tell, truthfully. But just took all the stock. 6 minutes in and out of all the LV Air Force. It was shoes which was £6,000 a pop in there. And the scariest part for me, and I'm not going to go too much into robbery, but the scariest part for me was that 5 days before that, I'd done the biggest deal I'd done with the boys, where I'd done like a 40k deal or something with them. So it's like 40 grand, that was mine. I'm scared. I'm thinking it's the first time I've done a big deal. Yeah. And fucking next thing, I've been ram raided. And well, I weren't worried as well. Like, it was a massive learning factor for me. So obviously we had insurance to an extent, so went through all them processes. But at that point, it was like, we've been bringing wholesalers down to the warehouse every week. Because it was in person, it's great to sell. Yeah. Someone comes, they see all this stock, they see a massive warehouse, they walk around, they pick what they want. You'll have wholesalers coming and spending 10, 20 grand. Yeah. Also, someone wants to join the service, they can see the warehouse, they can come and have a look.
See how legit
more personable.
Exactly, you have to have it. But at the same time, there's a serious security risk there. There's a serious security risk of having that much stock in a warehouse. Yeah. It was really good for content, everything, but like we're young. Like I'm 21 at this point. Like I'm complacent. You're not thinking about getting robbed.
No, of course not.
You're not thinking about all these things. I was 22. Sorry. It's just there. So when that happened, it was a massive kick in the teeth. And we just basically said to ourselves, it's fine. We're going to battle through it. We're going to go through the processes we need to get as much back as we can and recover.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone will say that, but most entrepreneurs, most people who run businesses will say they've had a massive hit. But I guess it gives you motivation to earn it all back. And then when you have earned it all back, you're like, shit, right, let's do it again.
Truthfully, the thing is, and I'm not going to pretend like it was my risk or my hurt. It wasn't my business.
You were still involved in it, though.
I was involved in it. It was a massive factor for me. There's still a lot of risk in my person, what I'd put in. But the responsibility was on the boys. Them boys had to step up and be a leader. Yeah. And they did. And that was like, when I realised, like, I'm not anymore a rinky-dinky entrepreneur who's sold 10 grand worth of stock and made a few grand.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing 40, 50K deals and gone through situations where people never had this stuff, where you had hundreds of thousands of pounds of stock robbed with you, where you've had to spend 16 hours at a warehouse overnight because it's not secure and you're waiting for the police, where you've had to spend 5 days straight literally sleeping in the office to get a stock record ready for things to be done.
Yeah, the commitment is crazy.
Oh mate, it was fight or flight.
Yeah.
And anyway, that was a tough period for the business, but we bounced back really well. So we said to ourselves, we're going to move to Manchester. We always wanted to move to Manchester. Our network's better. Zach and Jack had lived there previously. We're going to get our own warehouse in Manchester. All the team's going to move there. And we did. We moved to Manchester. We got a warehouse, and the warehouse was massive. It was sick. We was ready to grow. We'd sort of gone through the processes. I'd sort of got my investment back.
Yeah.
Ready to start buying again. A month into the Manchester warehouse, attempted robbery.
Oh no.
Luckily, they hit next door. Well, not sorry for next door. But essentially, it was like, again, you're thinking that we're gonna have to.
Yeah, like how are we gonna avoid this?
So we took the steps, went into a third-party logistics provider, which secures out. Like no one could possibly rob us.
So you're paying. You're not looking after the facility yourself. It's now looked after by.
It's like Amazon.
Security.
Yeah, it'd be impossible.
Is that a big cost of your business having to pay for that, or?
Yeah and no. So for me.
Worth it.
In
worth
terms
it for the
of
reassurance.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper in terms of storage and everything.
Like you're not paying for the rent of the building as well.
You're not paying for the rent of the building. You're not having to manage fulfillment, so you can just focus on other services. However, you don't realise the effect that it had us having our own warehouse in terms of bringing actual in revenue. Because you have people come down and have a look. You do videos in the warehouse. People really see the model. You want to get on FaceTime to a client, you show them around. When it's in the facility like that, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the negative of it. But obviously, as you grow in scale, you have to go for that stage.
Yeah, of course.
So, moved the business over here, and it still was doing really well. And that was sort of, I was still working for the business and doing deals with the business at the time. A bit further down the line, still really enjoying it, but it was a lot of work for me. I was doing generally 12-hour days. Like clients are obsessive. It's not a sense of that it's 9 to 5. Like at 9 p.m. they wanted to call you. It was a lot of work. So I had the conversation with Zach and Jack where I basically said to him, the day job financially as well wasn't really worth the time for me as much at the time anymore. So I just phased now in this sort of position I'm at where I just do bulk buys with them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm my own business, my own entrepreneur. Love the boys, work with the boys, help them out as much as I can. And we just basically do bulk deals together on stock. But that learning phase over that year, there was ups and downs. There's more times where there's ups and downs. It was huge. I learned an incredible amount. And truthfully, shout out to Zach, Jack, the whole team.
Yeah.
That was my pivotal year in entrepreneurship for me to be at the level now that I need to grow.
No, that's a really good story. And where are you at now then? So what business is yours, and what kind of position are you in?
In terms of what I'm running now, is business is the same model, similar, but on a small level. Business to business distribution of products, but you're of products.
Yeah.
So rather than necessarily designer clothes and you build a personal shopping and it's this new market where you have to really go and deal with end-to-end clients, I have a unit in a warehouse full of stock which I buy in bulk, in that same sense where I'm buying liquidation deals. So where this is makeup, cosmetics, technology, our members have access to these products, these same or similar rates, and they sell it on sales channels.
Right.
So like we go back to Vinted, eBay, Amazon, on there. So in the personal shopping side and designer clothes, we was teaching people how to go and build a business, an Instagram page, network with clients. Whilst this model now it's lower ticket. It's, I'm going to help you build a store that you can go and sell on these sales channels with using my profitable products. So it's that same model where you have a ticket course, someone pays, joins access. Yeah. We teach them how to build the business. And more importantly, they sell our stock and make a profit. They make a profit and we make a profit.
How long is the course?
4 or 5 hours.
Oh, really?
It's quick. I'm not going to Billy bullshit you. Most of the business is about stock. If you have access to a product which is £100 in the store, you have access to that product at 30, you're going to sell it at 60.
Yeah.
And none of the rest really actually matters that much. There's ways you can scale it and grow it and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
But the basics of it is you have an access to a product cheap and you sell it for profit on the sales channel. So now I've got my own unit. I focus on cosmetics because it's a really untapped industry. Where members have access to these products to sell, make a profit doing so. So for what I charge, truthfully, is £500 for the course. It's a one-time fee. There's no monthlies, there's no yearlies. That allows you access to our stock for lifetime. So I've probably got over 60k of stock currently that they can sell. So if they make £5 profit on an item, it's theirs. If they make £50 profit, it's theirs. Anything above that cost price I give is their profit to make. Right. So we essentially have a private portal. So let's say you wanted to go and start your business selling aftershaves. You'd log on to that private portal once you've paid your membership fee. You'd then be able to browse all of our stocks, let's say Creed at half price.
Yeah.
You'd then go and choose the stock you want to list, and you'd sell it at whatever margin you determine. It's an extremely smart model.
Might have to pay the £500.
So we'll go halves.
We'll go halves.
It's gonna be done.
We'll start our own business, mate.
Essentially, what I'm doing is I'm teaching people to build their own business using my supply chain of stock.
Yeah.
I'm not an e-com guru. I know I said it at the start, but I'm not an e-com guru.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in this and that. I'm a supplier, and I know I'm good at what I do, and I know what I do. Leave it stick simple.
It's kind of similar to that whole sort of Hustler University and the fact that they pay to be a part of this group and learn from these people, but in turn, obviously in your turn, it's people access. Selling your products. Whereas with that, it was sort of spreading awareness and making clips online. So everything on my For You page at one point was literally Hustlers University.
And
it's
bullshit,
like people,
that stuff.
Yeah. But it's like they're paying to learn about these things, and then in return they'd spread.
There's no proof that you can make money that way, though.
No. And this is the really important thing. This part of my agenda that I hate is that people go, "You're a course guy. You sell a course." I don't sell a course. I sell access to stock as a supplier. I have a physical business.
So you're breaking out that.
Yeah.
They don't. So the people who are buying into your service are not having to do that first step.
Yeah, I guess
exactly. You're not having to buy stock, and you actually have a supplier which you make profit from, and you can drop ship it. You don't have to put investment in. But the problem is that if I made my service free, that everyone can join, I'd have 1,000. Nothing wrong with young people or kids, but I'd have 1,000 people who want to go and start their own business, going and using all my time and not actually having any results.
Yeah.
I'd rather work with a small niche of people who do good revenue and are genuinely serious, and I can put my labor. I've got staff I have to pay.
Yeah.
I've got an account manager who has to go and set up their business, set up integrations on eBay, one-to-one consultation calls. That costs me money.
Yeah.
I've hired someone Ellis, who's absolutely incredible as well. Absolutely incredible. Worked with him back in my grad job, and he went to operations manager so quickly.
Yeah.
I've hired him because he's that good at what he does. And it costs me to get them set up. So in terms of my long-term value is in the customer.
Yeah.
If they do 20k in revenue, I'll make $2,000 profit, $3,000 profit.
Yeah.
So I need them to do well. But that initial setup, I'm not going to lose on it. And I need to work with only specific businesses.
I might need to start working for Jay,
So I'll be hiring at some point. But,
let me know.
I've got a lot of goals and aspirations for the next side of the business. That's
what I was going to ask you actually. Like, this is so cool what you've built and kind of where you are at the moment, but it feels like this is only step one.
Step 0.1. So in terms of me, my vision, and when people say they see themselves doing something, like when I was 16, I seen myself doing this as a dream. I didn't think it was doable. Like generally having my own, being in this apartment, working with the lads I work with, having my own business, selling this and being something full time. That I'm so past that now. I'm so past my 16-year-old's top end.
Yeah.
My next step is to have 1,000 square foot warehouse full of stock at massively discounted rates. And the businesses that I sell to and work with, so my members currently, who might be doing $1,000 a month in profit, are doing 10k a month. They have their own warehouses.
Yeah.
So it's a sense of that as I scale, the businesses underneath me scale.
Yeah.
And it means I can buy more stock. When I'm going and buying, I'm not buying 5k deals. I'm only buying £500,000 deals.
Yeah.
At massively discounted rates. I want to become the supplier which members and my businesses work with and can distribute from. And it's not I want to, I will.
Yeah.
There's no stopping me to do. I will 100% in a year in 6 months, I know I'll have the 400 square foot unit. In a year, I'll have 1,000 square foot unit. If not, like, it may be quicker. I don't know.
I'm excited to see it, mate. I'm very excited to see what's coming. Do you have any idea what the actual stock is you're going to be selling, or what you're going to be buying?
Yes. So for me, that's a great question, because I ask myself this all the time.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm focused on cosmetics. The designer clothes is the business which I work with, so I'm never going to really go into that from a sense of that's their business. I do deals with them. I think more in terms of cosmetics, I will buy more into more aftershaves and fragrances, because I've seen really good results within sort of my members selling them products.
Yeah.
Technology is something I've always been really interested in as well.
Yeah.
And sold in. So like PlayStations, like even for that background, like I've got a background in that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind going into that in terms of one point, but I don't want to branch out too much. Anything that I could buy and sell, I would. But cosmetics is that thing which I think there's such a niche in. And there's so little. So designer clothes, we might have had 700 businesses work with us. 660 of them are male. There's got to be a side hustle for females to enter into.
Yeah, definitely.
Girls don't, and I'm unless I'm missing something, I really shouldn't be. Girls don't have enough businesses, e-commerce based, that they're interested in. And this is what I want to enter into.
Yeah.
I want to get females and women to start their own online businesses in something they're interested in makeup, in fragrances, in cosmetics, that you've got the advantage over everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, even if you walk through Selfridges, you see the first sections, obviously, aftershaves, cosmetics, skincare routines, and it's full to the brim every time you go in, whether that's a Tuesday night or a Saturday. There's women like all lined up trying the new skincare products, and they're not cheap. They're like 50 quid for a small pot of cream, you know what I mean?
So expensive. And the margins are incredible. That's why I like, honestly, like, if there's one thing I can say is, girls, you need to get more involved in this. Like, even my members selling the makeup now, they're men. A lot of them are men. Because it's my demographic of what I've come from before.
Of course.
And they've just sort of joined on because they can see profit. I really want to get more females involved in this business and work with girls who can start their own business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they've got that interest already, like you're saying, the passion for the product.
They've got an advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, one reason why I was great at selling clothes is because I'd go and speak to lads I know who want to wear Stoney.
Yeah.
Girls, you've got a friendship group who are buying the makeup. You've got you're a step ahead of me and all my other clients. So
yeah.
Wow.
I'm really enjoying this. Probably got a few more minutes before we end this, but I'd like to ask you a bit more kind of a deeper question in terms of like your daily life and what are the best bits of this job, and then what are the worst bits for you?
Yeah, there's definitely highs and lows. Definitely highs and lows. So for me, one thing that I structured so much. So I've been in points where I've been way too focused on money and materialistic things. And I understand that. And I've spent money in ways I really shouldn't have spent and not prioritized things in other ways. And again, I've had great fun doing it. But I think one thing that I've, over the last 3-4 months when I've gone out by myself, that I wanted to gain was freedom.
Yeah.
Was in control of what I'm doing. And generally, not like if I want to take a day off or go and relax or work from somewhere else, that I will. That's one thing that my goal is so much less money orientated. It's what money can bring.
Yeah.
How can I go and build a business where I'm bringing value, but I can also work from wherever I want, and I can be and do things at times wherever I want. I said that when I first started working by myself, I was going to just be relaxed and take a few days off. I've not took one day off, but I enjoy it so much.
Does it feel like work?
Nah.
Yeah.
Not one bit, bro.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it?
True. I love saying this. So my Saturdays and Sundays are the exact same as my Mondays and Tuesdays. I don't look forward to the weekend at all. And this is one reason why I'll never go back into 9 to 5. Even if the business just crap and it won't. I'll make sure it's done. But that thought of it doesn't matter what actual date. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
No, I honestly don't know and don't care.
Yeah.
Because I look forward to every single day waking up.
Yeah, that's a good.
And that's my positive of it. Negative, there's so much stress.
Yeah.
You know, when you do a bulk buy, even if it's a dealer stock, and you think, right, you spend fucking 30 grand or 40 grand, and something doesn't quite work out the way it does, you've got the risk there is huge. I've got staff to pay, I've got units to pay. Your cash flow can be shit.
Yeah.
Like if I have to go and do a bulk buy of a 20k deal, that last deal has been slow. Like where's that money going to come from? I'm not going to get 20k out of thin air. Then yeah, you can have a shit week, you can have a shit day, your head can be everywhere, you can have an argument with someone in business like I've had.
You can get robbed for 400 grand.
Yeah, pretty bad. Yeah, pretty bad day. I've got a good
not ideal.
Yeah, not exactly what you want. But yeah, so there's definitely ups and downs, and I've had times where even like on holiday and stuff, like when anything comes with money and an association with money, there's always negatives with it. So I've met people who are not nice people. I've had things robbed off me from a personal point of view. I've seen true colours from people to do with things.
I mean, that's the issue when you come into big sums of money like that, and you're dealing with big sums of money, whether you're buying stock or selling stock, or even on like you say, on a personal level, it can show the nasty side of people sometimes.
Yeah. I think one of the things you actually touched on off air before we started was keeping your circle small.
Oh, so key.
Yeah, what is the importance of having a small kind of tight-knit circle?
And what's your experience of it? Have you, obviously...
So truthfully, I'm not going too much into situations. I've had like situations where, because a lot of my marketing is, and I hate that it has to be like, it's my marketing is Rolexes and Lamborghinis. Yeah. Because people want to see that stuff. Sells. It's not what my business is about, but they are aspects of the business. And when you're showing off these things, people have a really negative opinion of you. Like, oh, this kid's showing off, he's doing this now. You know me. It's not really what I'm like. Yeah. Also, from a sense of, I've been in situations where people really took advantage of, so whether it's you've paid for something and they'll just fob you off, or you've done this or that, or you can just tell people's true intentions aren't right. Yeah. So let's look at Jack. I grew up with Jack. When me and Jack were best friends when we were 15, 16, we grew this business together. We live together now. And he's done extremely well in business. I've done well in business as well. It's not, our friendship's formed off something which is more than business and money. So sometimes it's really hard to do business with friends. Extremely difficult. You'll have fallouts, you'll have ups and downs, but having that circle of who's original and who's there is important. And it's hard to see through people sometimes.
Definitely.
I think it's a big thing with people who blow up on social media, is these people will try to be friends with them because it makes them more successful, more seen in the eye, seen in the public eye. So I think having Jack as someone who you've grown up with and you've been through the highs and lows with that's good.
It's been huge really, really to help me sort of
and yeah, we always talk about with our guests as well, like the importance of mentors and mentorship, and like having someone like that close to you, and obviously other people you've probably met along the way. Yeah, is also like really, really helpful to have like good mentors to always look up to or to chat with. Have you found there's anyone that you've always kind of had, or you kind of switch it between people? No. You've not had anyone really?
My dad.
Yeah.
Truthfully. So I've always been quite self-motivating, but I want a mentor, truthfully, because there's so many times that I've been in business positions and I haven't known who to speak to about it, and I've been in some really tough positions at time. My dad, he's not a business person. No. He's had a few properties, he's had involvement in certain businesses, but he's always been quite well in corporate job, whatnot. Yeah. So to have him, like, he'll always calm me down a bit if I'm a bit panicking or something. So
what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, what's the worst that
That's
can happen?
That's his favourite saying.
But I do need a better mentor, truthfully. That's one thing that I will start to look out for in network. Yeah. I've not really been out by myself doing business for more than 3-4 months. I've always had my own business, but I've always had a job at the same time, or been on a payroll for another business. So it's really only 4 months I've really been doing my own thing. Yeah. And that's the point where you can't fight. I can't go and I can't ask Jack, but it's not, oh, Jack, what do you think I should do? It's, Jay, what do you do? Yeah. Or you have one of your staff panics to you. I've got to sit there and go, it's calm. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, you got to step up and take those other roles.
Yeah, and it's a massive learning. Like, I've learned so much more within this than I did at university or within working for a corporate business.
It's like driving. We always say that, especially in our profession as physios. You get in the car the day after you pass your test. You don't have any idea what you're doing. Yeah. Give it a year, and you're like driving with the window down, music leaning back.
A year, one day, man.
One day, yeah. However, but like
that is that confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, it just comes over time, and I think that's with anything really. And I'm really excited to see kind of where you go, and maybe like speak to you in a couple of years and see kind of like what the story is. And
yeah, I think, and the next thing I'm gonna know, we're finishing, obviously we're like, but it's just going more in property. It's like I'm going to Nigeria next Thursday. Yeah, building apartments over there. Like, there's a family project. No way. So that's like, I'm going to be in Nigeria for a few weeks. That's cool. Which is a sick project, and it's something I really like. I've got a dead passion for property. So that's something that I just want to really start building up. And cash flow from a business is e-com, and I love that. I love that side of things, and I really want to scale that. But property is something I've always, like, it's a safer investment. Yeah. I've got more interest in. I've got my roots in Nigeria, so I just want to get more involved in that as well. So that's sort of next step for me, scaling this property as well, and any other ventures that come.
Wow. Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I think Charlie will be gutted he's missed it today. He would have loved it. But I'm sure he's going to watch back through it and see all the interesting stories you've had to tell us and kind of learn lots from you. So it's been a pleasure. If you guys are watching on YouTube, if you could leave us a like or a comment if you have enjoyed the video. If you could leave a subscribe as well, that'd be great. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you could give us a like as well and follow us, we'd really appreciate that. And if you're fancy coming on, having a chat like Jay has, we'd always speak to anyone and everyone. We love hearing your stories, and I hope you guys listening do as well. So we'll see you next episode.
Nice one, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.